Hi, my name is Donald, and today I'm going to tell you more about how to operate in the cluster visual. In this video, you will learn how to zoom, refresh, and undo with the top buttons, how to adjust the view to search intent or ranking, in-depth information about the cluster insights, information about search intent prediction, how to make changes to the cluster visual, and how to export the visual to CSV. To stay updated on the latest KeyWI videos, make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. Let's get started with today's topic. So to start with clustering, select the button here on the left side in the menu and choose the clustering you want to see. So today we're going to cover coffee bean clustering with 500 keywords. On the right side here, you can see there's some tips and tricks, how to use the visual, what your options are to really enhance your workflow. So make sure to read this. We will cover it today. You can refer to it anytime over here. On the left side here, you have some options, so you can zoom in, you can zoom out. If you are at a certain part of the clustering and you want to go back to the original screen, you can press this button. If you have been busy with anything and you don't like it, so I don't know, for example, putting clusters together, you can undo what you did at any time. You can also over here reset the clustering and then it will go back to the original screen. On this side, you can extend the layers. So over here, you can see how many layers clustering have, or collapse them one by one if you want. So the visual clearly gives an idea for you what your data-driven website structure, page structure, and content structure can be. So for example, the first layer can be your pillar page content, and this can be also parts of that content as well. So you can make a head topic of this and then go deeper into niche topics with these keywords. So here on the right side, you're able to filter them. So according to keywords in cluster, you can also do that per layer. And you can also filter according to volume, same story. So just change it here or add that or change that per layer if you wish. On top right side over here, you can change the node size. So as you can see right now, it's based on search volume. So now the biggest cluster has the most volume. So this cluster, for example, has the least. You can change that here also according to number of keywords. So it's changing, as you can see, or to none, then they all have the same size. Then you also have the node color. So right now it's the search intent view. So the dominant search intent is the color that we give to the cluster. So here on the right, you can see what the color means. So for these clusters, the dominant search intent is informational. That doesn't mean that there are that there aren't any other search intent keywords in that cluster, but this is just the most dominant one. So you can also change the ranking view to the average, or you can change to the average rank view from the intent view. Now you can see where you're ranking and where you're not ranking. So green is where you're ranking, dark blue is where you're not ranking currently. So this is also really interesting to see, okay, what is my current SEO situation and where is a potential new opportunity? For example, if you look at this cluster, there's over here a subcluster that's gray with also some search volume there. So because you are already ranking on keywords that have relation to these keywords, this can be a new opportunity for you. So now you could write a content page about grinding coffee and make that a sub page of this pillar page. So that's the insight which you can get or example of it. So if you go back to the intent view, I will go deeper into this cluster. So over here you can search. You can use the search bar for to find keywords. Or if you push here or you click here, then you go to the original view and you can, now it looks for all the clusters. So it's depending where you click on. So right now we're in this cluster. We give every cluster a suggested cluster name, and this is very important. So you're always free to change this name. So because we look at the Google data per keyword and find relations between keywords, the insights will always be, not as you expect, but Google sees a relation between these keywords. So what you should do now is look at these keywords, ground beans, so different kind of coffee beans, for example, and then rename this as you wish, or what the topic is you want to write about. So grinding coffee beans, for example. So renaming the cluster names is very important for you to keep track of what you're actually looking at according to the data. So next to that, you can select keywords here. You can delete keywords. You can delete the selection. You can change keywords from one to the other. We actually don't encourage you to do this, because then you're stepping away from data-driven analysis. But you're free to do as you wish, or sometimes it can be good to do it to match your client's goal, for example. So those are the keywords. Here is the volume. Here is the rank. So we also collect the URL if you're ranking. So push it, and then it's copied to your clipboard. And you can take a look at it in a different tab. And here on the right side is the search intent prediction. So it can be the case that there's two search intents in a keyword, or there's one search intent. If there's two, it's the search results are very broad. So we try our algorithm then processes the keyword and the search intent as best as possible. So that's also where the percentages come in. So over here you see 60% informational and 20% commercial, whereas informational is the dominant intent. This could also be 100% informational, but right now we're quite sure it's informational, therefore 60%. I want to give you the best guidance in what we can predict per search intent for a keyword. So you can also make changes per cluster. So if you double click on a cluster, you can see you can add a child cluster over here, pops up gray. You can add that child cluster also over here. So you can do it from the middle. This can be nice if you want to create like a new topic, for example, in which you want to use these and these keywords. You add them to the cluster here, and need to pick up like that, and you see they're there, and you can rename it to example. So next to that, you can add keyword rename. You can create a task, which can be quite handy if you're working with a big team. So name of task, add keywords for content, and then assign it to myself. And task information, we need more. Now this task is really immediately created, and you can continue with your workflow. So next to that, you can also delete a cluster if you want to change the visual or clean up the visualization. So it looks like that. You can also extract a cluster. This is actually an interesting feature. So what it does, it creates a new visual of that cluster. Good to know is that we don't ask any extra credits or keywords for this. So because we already collected the data in this visual, we're not going to charge you extra with extra credits. So over here you see it's ready. So it gets the name subclustering and roasters, because that's the name of the clustering. And now you can see you have a new visual of that cluster as well. And the last one is Restructure. So this can be quite nice if you have like a cluster with a lot of subclusters, for example this one, and you want to see a better overview. You just press Restructure and you see it's easier for you to see how many clusters there are. So one last thing, if a cluster is white in the middle, then it means that it has subclusters. So you can either press the plus We can double tap on this cluster and then it will unfold again with the subclusters. So last but not least, you can also export this visual to CSV. And there are a few options for it. First, this last version of the visual will be exported. But you can also, for example, export per cluster. So if you now press on this button over here, it will export just this cluster. And if you leave it like this, so you have the whole clear visual, and you press on export cluster, then it will export the whole visual. You can give it a name or keep the name and then press download. So this is the CSV. As you can see, and because it's a CSV, we need to restructure the data. So these are the layers, like the cluster. So this is the head cluster, and this is the subcluster. This is the subcluster. These are the keywords. This is the search volume, the domain rank, if it's ranking, with the URL, and the intention prediction as well. So either with a dominant or the secondary intention, or both. Thanks for watching our video about how to operate in a cluster visual. If you have any other questions, please check out our other videos in our channel. Go to www.keywi.io/support for frequently asked questions, or drop us a message in the chat window.